We're gonna have a little bit of a rant.
You looked like you were just swimming around trying to find a track.
Well, that's because I was.
Hello. Oh, how rude.
So in today's video, we're going to talk about tires. Now, the tires I had on the car before, I thought they just maybe weren't that good a tire. I'm used to Hoosier R25. Is it A or B? Whichever one was the softer one that I used to use on the Formula 500, and they use them on Formula Fords. And they are, when you talk about chewing gum tires, they are like that. You can see the compound move around after one lap of autocrossing. But the tires I had on this were Hoosier TDRs, I think. They were a TD series, they're S or R. And I thought they just didn't work because the cars are too light. And it is because the cars are too light. They work better on the GT40 than on this car. But even on the GT40, I didn't think they worked, except two things happened which kind of made me think maybe I'm onto something here. One, there was one autocross, I think 2 years ago at Crow's, and it was 98 degrees out there. And suddenly guys that I'm normally nip and tuck with in times, I was a second faster than. And this was in the GT40. And I think it's because it was that hot out that my tires were finally getting into the working range. But the other thing was I kept noticing the tires always looked brand new after an event. There was no graining, there was no distortion, no scuffing up of the tread. They just looked brand new, which made me think, okay, they're not doing anything. But then I went to Sonoma, and again, it was low 90s when I was running. And I wasn't even running hard, but afterwards, suddenly the tires had that look of slick tires that have been run in. The light bulb kind of goes off. Okay, they do work on track. I've also taken a Laguna Seca, and they worked well there too, even though it was cooler. They just take a little time to get some heat in the tires, and they work better if it's warm. And a lot of this is they were meant for cars that are heavier than I mean, this is 1,400 pounds. My GT40 is just under 1,900 pounds. So what I ended up with here are Hoosier A7's. I like to run bias ply tires. I think they're more fun, and of course I'm running a vintage style cars. These are radials, so technically they'll probably work better. They just won't slip as much before peak grip. The slip angles won't be as much, but you don't care about that. They're shorter. I mean, these are great for autocross because you've got short sidewalls. But from a looks, I think the fronts are great. From a looks perspective, I think the back tires look like piano wheels now. They're listed as 23-inch tires. Installed on the car right now, they're 22.5-inch, both front and rear. That's also going to change my gearing in the rear a little bit, but that's fine because I think I'm just going to want to put this thing in third gear more often and leave it there. These A7's are softer than R7's, which, near as I can tell from the internet, R7's are pretty close to the TDs. So I'm looking for this to be faster. It may also be more grip than the car can handle and rip out a suspension mounting point somewhere. That's kind of why I didn't run tires this soft to begin with. But it's been a while. We've done a lot of events. I've never had any issues. So let's see what it'll do. Okay, it would help if I knew the course. I didn't have time to walk it this morning, but I have grip for days. I'm getting lazy now. It's like I'm not setting up for corners. I'm just like, oh, I'll just turn. I probably need to get into a higher gear, but I think I can get below 60 as I am, if I could just not screw up. Bit, what do you think of that screw up? Did it look cool at least? Oh. Oh, you gotta do it.
Fred, you having fun?
Yeah, that's great.
Ben, how you doing over there?
Everyone's bugging out. Wet. What? Can't tell if I'm. Oh, I'm rolling. All right. I'll sit down here. Okay, so what did we learn today?
Nothing.
No, we learned a few things, like how to fish a Miata and a 911 out of the mud. I've never considered this car to handle all that well, but it was amazing on these tires. If anything, I need to soften the rear. I had the rear kind of stiff before because it was a little front limited, but now maybe I should soften the rear. I'm not really sure because some of it I think is I just need to drive it better. Now that it actually handles well, I need to do a decent job driving it. How did it look out there?
The car looked good, but not your driving.
But I didn't have time to walk the course this morning, so I had two spins. The first, well, not full spins, but I lost the tail twice. The first was I was coming around a part of the track and I honestly didn't know where it went around that corner. And so when I found out, I got a little more than sideways. And then I was thinking about like, okay, now I know I need to go wide there and slow more to make that corner sharper. And I was thinking about that and then messed up another part earlier in the course that I hadn't messed up before. All I did was kind of point and shoot and turn the thing. It has so much more grip. There was no skill involved in what I was doing, and I was much more competitive than I usually am. The car, so okay, the problem we're having now is he doesn't know how to sit. But the other problem is the rear tires. I've had 25.5-inch tall tires, and the previous ones were 27.5-inch tall, which was a little too tall. These are 22.5-inch tall, which means now instead of doing 70 miles an hour in second gear, I've got to do the math, but it's way less than that. I'm on the rev limiter in second gear for half the course. So, okay, I just need to use third. So I did that, and I did that on my fastest run. The problem with third is I'm in third for a few seconds, and then I'm in a corner where I get on the gas after, and the engine's going blah, 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 blah. So I either need to be shifting a lot, which it doesn't shift that quickly, or if Hoosier wouldn't mind just making me the same A7's but with a 25-inch rear tire, that would be great. New idea. So I've already been thinking about getting some different wheels for the GT40 that look a little more period correct, and I was kind of toying with the idea of if I spent more on new wheels, what if I made sure they worked on both cars, and then I only had to buy one set of tires and I just move it to whichever car I'm going to take to an event. So I found these Hellbrand replica style, this place is selling them for Cobra replicas. But the interesting thing here is, so they have them in the original 15-inch diameter, and I could do that in the front and use the front tires that I've got on the Lotus now, fine. And that'll help keep the unsprung weight down. I don't need anything bigger there, and there really isn't much of a taller option for that width of tire, regardless of wheel size. But in the rear, they have an option of the same style of wheels in both 17 and 18-inch diameters. And I've gone through the Hoosier catalog, and it looks like 17-inch wheels give me the most options. With 17, I can then get some A7's that are closer to 26 inches than 22 inches. So I could either get a set of 17-inch wheels that look like this for the front and back. But what I'm thinking is I'll get some 15 by 8s for the front and some 17 by, this is odd because I either have a choice of 17 by 9.5 or what I'll probably do is 17 by 11. I have 15 by 10s right now. So 17 by 11, I'll get that for the rears, and then use that both on the GT40 and the Lotus, and just whichever event I'm going to, I'll put the wheels on that car. So this is my current thinking, and you might be thinking, wow, that's some money there, and you'd need money for more tires too. Aren't you supposed to be building a third project car? And yeah, that's just going to keep getting pushed back the more I find things like this that I'd like to do. The nice thing about this, though, I'm not going to be able to do this year. This will be next year if things go well, if my appliances stop breaking around the house. The nice thing about this is it's something where I can do this and then get an immediate result out of it. Whereas building the car, you have to wait years to see your ideas come to fruition. So this is what I'm thinking right now. My mind might change. We'll find out. Good. Describe to the people what you're doing.
Falling.
That was concise. We're gonna have a little bit of a rant. You've heard me say before, I'm a little tired about going to events, and I have to say, yesterday when I went to load this on the trailer with these tires, car was lower, so I'd already adjusted the ride height and re-corner balanced everything, and I had the car lower, but I thought it was still good for getting on the trailer. It wasn't, and it ripped off one of its cooling pipes as I tried to get on, so I then had to redo the coolant pipes and get them up higher, refilled everything, modify the trailer a little bit because the way the ramps meet up the trailer, there's like an inch gap, so I lessened that. So I did all these things, and I got up running, and it should have been 20 minutes to load the car, and it was 3 hours, and there was rain coming, and so I was kind of in a rush. And I thought, okay, this really sucked, and I'm in a bad mood now, but it's fine. I get to go to an autocross tomorrow. And then two things happened. One, I got here, and the car just started dripping oil out of its drain plug, and it was kind of loose. Now, I changed the oil a month ago, but I changed it. I ran it. I warmed it up. I ran it a couple times. I let it sit for a couple weeks and checked. No drips at all. No drips loading it yesterday. Now it's dripping like crazy, and I tighten up the plug, and it's still dripping just as fast. Like tightening the plug is having no effect on it. So there's got a nylon washer. It's not sealing. So I had a paper plate under it while it was on grid because it was just making a mess. So then that made today kind of hectic, and then it hailed. We had a huge rainstorm. I loaded this on the trailer, and there's this much standing water in the car. That's how much it just dumped on us. The track turned into a lake. 2 cars went off from the mud so far that it took 2 tow straps and 2 chains to reach them. So we're going home early, but what we've learned is what we already knew, which is it's all about tires. And see how this isn't a lot. This isn't like the R25s did, but you can see how the rubber has moved around from being run, and it feels a little stickier now. I also didn't get the pressures right. It seems like I needed to run higher pressures than I used to on the bias supplies, and I got these good. The rears needed another pound or 2. I lowered them too much. But I used to run like 14 and 16, and now I think 20 and 23 is about right from my pyrometer, my temperature thing. What?
Thermometer?
No, it's not that. It should be a thermometer. Oh, see, that guy's upset too. So where do we go from here? Do another event? Well, fix the oil leak and put some oil back in the engine. I'm not sure how much oil there is left in it. It's always got to be something. It's come over all Lotus on me. The gearing's an issue. If it weren't for that, I honestly think I could take another 1 or 2 seconds off of it. And then more if I just drove better. Jackrabbit hunting. Forget autocrossing, this is our new sport. So, what do you like better, this or the GT40?
This.
Why?
It's better.
In some ways.
Oh, look right there.
Well, what if we want to do something together?
I'll sit on top of your head.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that a great idea?
It's not the worst idea.
I'll sit on your shoulders, maybe break them.
Why don't you just ride on the exhaust?
See if that'll hold me up.
Hey, it's starting to rain again. There may be, I think that's just water. It hailed earlier. Oh Came out to unload the broken car, and it was sunny, but now it's raining on me, which just puts you in the right mood to discover you've spent the most you've ever spent on tires taking it to one event, and you've got that going on. Really starting to question my life choices right about now.